Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. Once again, members of the Free Range Idiocy congregation, we find ourselves on the verge of what can only be described as one of the high holy days of geekdom. 45 years ago from the premiere of A New Hope, the folks over at the Blues will be delivering unto us a brand new Star Wars series. Yay! Verily I say unto thee, brothers and sisters, we shall be a witness to a story featuring one of the greatest Jedi of all time. Unless you want to count completely missing Anakin's turn to the dark side and then leaving him for dead rather than finishing the job, and then giving Palpatine his greatest weapon short of an orbiting space station with a big-ass laser cannon in it. And actually, never mind that, because we're going to be diving into another round of interweb rumors surrounding the return of Obi-Wan and much more in this episode 104. Well, hello there. Kenobi rumors, the real or the jabroni. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is a person who was once booked to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship, but refused to work with Billy Kidman due to a claim of gimmick infringement surrounding ring attire. He has been my partner in idiocy for over 2 decades and will always be a champion in my heart, at least. I give you the man they call Tim.
Well, hello there. And I have the higher ground.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Where did you get that Billy Kidman thing, man? That was pretty good.
I don't know. It just popped into my head today.
Well done,
and I was
sir.
completely sober when it happened. That's the thing I'm most proud of.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, we have the higher ground, which means we automatically win. Laser swords be damned. I'm standing 2 feet above you. That's it. It's all over, I guess.
That's all a sports team needs to do. Just get on the higher ground, and then you must forfeit.
Okay, I mean, somebody text Spud Webb that, I guess. Oh wait, Spud Webb never won a championship. Never mind. Yes, so we will be talking about Kenobi this episode, all the real and jabroni rumors and all that fun stuff. But before that, we need to get into the Week in Geek so that the man they call Tim can inform us of what geek news has been happening since the last time that we congregated and gathered. However, before that, we need to get to our Week in Geek sponsor because we're actually on quite a roll with having a sponsor here. So far, it has not really paid all that well, but I have been able to get Patrick a cot to go in the supply closet, so he's sleeping a little more comfortably. He was just kind of leaning up against a mop, and that helped to explain that mildewy smell that would precede him and then follow him out of the room. So now we've got him a
mildew
cot.
and pneumonia.
Another couple of these sponsors, and maybe we'll actually get to the point where he can go live in a flop house of his own. But so far, not yet. He's like Harry Potter. He's living in the supply closet at Free Range Idiocy HQ.
Nice.
Thank God I'm recording from home, because damn it, he snores really loud. Anyways, this week's Week in Geek is sponsored by that doofus at the coffee drive-thru ordering lunch for 10 people. Yes, that incredibly oblivious tool bag that doesn't mind holding up the line for a good 15 minutes because they refuse to get out of their car and walk 10 feet inside the shop. You're waiting at life in spite of everybody behind you in line planning to end yours.
Week in
Feels so funky.
So what do we got for the Week in Geek?
That is one heck of a sponsor, my friend. And very apropos, given my day today.
Yeah, it is very ties in nicely with the discussion we had. The frustrating thing for me, and there's a little sidetrack here. I know that we were saying we were going to try and keep this tight, but there really ought to be 2 lines at the coffee drive-thru. Okay, like I'm not talking about mom and pop places because we know infrastructure and all that stuff. But if you're a national chain, I'm petitioning that you need to have 2 lines. One for black coffee and one for everybody else.
Yes.
Because all I want is black coffee. No cream, no sugar, none of that. And none of that freaking classic syrup crap that Starbucks had. What the hell? Since when do you have to explain what black coffee is? I mean, I've said that so many times, and people are like, so does that mean you want the classic syrup in that? No. Black coffee is nothing. It is coffee in a cup.
I find it funny that
honestly,
you can't even say regular
optional.
coffee. You can't even say regular because regular implicitly means cream and sugar or some kind or whatever. So
yeah, and enough cream and sugar that you might as well have Wilford Brimley riding shotgun with you talking about diabetes. I mean,
good Lord.
Yeah, because I think regular coffee, if you ask for a regular now, it's like 2 sugars in like a medium or something. That's a lot of sugar. Especially for someone who does drinks like nothing in his, like even iced coffee, nothing in it. Just give me a black ice coffee cup. Well, not that order, but you know what I mean. So, I mean, it ought to be like everybody else who wants to get their Frappuccino, the 8 bagels, and all the thing that confuses me is I don't even understand why people are ordering food from Starbucks. Like that food is the most unappetizing food I have ever seen in my life. Like this side of like Fisher Price, like the stuff that comes with a kitchen play set. That stuff in there looks damn near inedible.
I did in a past life have the egg sandwich before I went on my now lifetime diet that I'm on, and those were actually pretty tasty. But outside of that, I agree.
Well, the problem is you probably have one of those sitting somewhere in your colon right now because it's plastic and it won't pass through you. It's like one of them forever chemicals.
So that's what that feeling is.
Could be. I feel a little lumpy. Geez, it kind of looks like an English muffin.
I got a protrusion. What's going on?
Is that a piece of bacon?
Oh, good Lord.
But anyways, that's my rant. Black coffee lane and then coffee and crap for everybody else. That is, you know what? That's what my campaign is going to be for president. That's my entire platform right there.
It all goes back to Kenobi having the higher ground.
Yes,
Get it?
yes. I have the higher ground. Give me my coffee.
Give me my coffee.
Anyways, so what do we got going on in the Week in Geek this week, sir?
Our first Week in Geek I've entitled Feige is the Man. Last Tuesday, Disney Plus had their upfront presentation to the advertisers in the old NYC, and that is where Feige introduced the next slate of Marvel shows that will be coming at us, primarily with a focus on She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Yes,
which looked very, very cool. So looking forward to that. I'm especially excited. I hadn't. Oh gosh, now I can't think of the name of the show she was in. But Tatiana Maslany, she was on a show where she played like these 5 different versions of this clone character, and I cannot. Something Orchid. I can't think of the name of it. Anyways, it was a sci-fi show from like the 2010s, and she did a phenomenal job in it. So it's very cool that she's going to have a spot in the Marvel universe now. Looking forward to that. I love the appearance of Mark Ruffalo in the trailer doing the old happy-go-lucky smart Hulk. Where he's all happy that something works, and then of course, there's some kind of chaos happening in the background while he's smiling stupidly. So it looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. They also announced Loki season 2 will be going into production in a few weeks, as well as they brought out Nick Fury, aka Samuel L. Jackson, on stage to tease the Secret Invasion show that will be coming.
And he just cussed everybody in the audience out for like 10 straight minutes.
That's right.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's Jim Cornette's press conference. I get those. I get so confused.
Where's my damn Dominoes, boy?
and a Sprite.
And a Sprite. And then finally, Kevin Feige also revealed, too, that as far as the most viewed Marvel Studio show on Disney Plus so far, it is Loki, which I found very interesting, because Loki is probably, kind of up there as being one of the more out there series, more so than I think Moon Knight was. But yeah, so Loki is probably considered one of the more successful shows now, since it is the most viewed. But it is coming. Season 2 will start going into production, and I believe I guess on that kind of schedule wouldn't be out till 2023. I would assume. Yes.
I would, yeah. There's no way they're finishing it they'll shoot it this year for certain.
Yeah.
But there's no way that with all the effects and everything else that has to happen in post, no way we're getting that before 2023. And so what we got: She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and is Secret Invasion? That's a Plus show, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a Plus show.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not getting Loki season 2 until after all that, and then you got to figure in when WandaVision season 2 is happening.
You think
Hold on a second.
WandaVision season 2?
Yeah, I think so. Hang on a second.
Is Patrick calling you?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, we were talking about shows. Thank you. Sorry, a member of our junior division was waving at me, and since since everyone in my house is sick, I couldn't tell if I needed to take someone to the emergency room or if I was just getting a good night. So I wasn't sure what was going on.
I see.
It's life in the plague ward over here.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yes,
anyway,
this is Free Range Idiocy Outbreak Edition, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. COVID mania is running wild in both of our neighborhoods, although
let me tell you something, brother.
Something, somewhat unaffected, and I'm going to knock on wood right now. But yeah. So that all sounds really, really cool. One thing I will say, though, here's where Marvel is kind of missing the boat on some of this stuff, and by extension, Disney. They need to address the fact that the Disney Plus app needs to have a news section. Because and I don't think that this is necessary for most apps. I think for some, maybe it would be a little more kind of content producers rather than just like, hey, we have a channel, so therefore here's everything.
Right.
But I think for something like especially Marvel or Star Wars or some of those different aspects of the Plus, when they have all these press conferences and stuff, like actually trying to track down that stuff can be a real pain in the neck. Like if I actually want to watch some of this stuff, it's a pain in the neck for me to actually track any of that down. And I think I think fans would like to find that stuff. And if nothing else, just to be able to have a place where trailers are readily available in an easy to find place on the app would be really nice, rather than having to go to YouTube and then you find like the 18 fake trailers, which is so much fun. But it would be nice to be able to to find like the official trailers on the app and just have them in a readily accessible place, because I mean they're going to have to start renovating this anyways, because they're already throwing ESPN content onto the Plus. And that is a pain in the rear end to try and find once it disappears from like the front page, because there's no ESPN section, there's no sports section, so you have to kind of know what it's called.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm all for all that stuff. I would really like it if they, if we get a new release of the Plus app that kind of updated some of this stuff. I think that'd be kind of nice.
100%. All right, we move on from Feige being the man to Kathleen Kennedy being the lady. She kind of on the flip side for Marvel, we have a Star Wars report.
And the time is
there we go.
It's ladies' night. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm talking about something else.
Good Lord.
Just a little cool in the gang just hit me, and
Uncle Todd's got a fever, and it's not COVID.
I hope the hell. Actually, I'm probably going to have a fever, because let me just set the scene for you. Because at my previous abode, my office was downstairs, and I'd have to close the windows and the door, and I would start sweating like crazy. Well, now I'm out on my porch, and this would normally be really nice because I would have like a nice cross breeze from a bunch of windows, but I've got most of them like closed almost all the way so that my neighbors don't have to hear me rant and rave, because I live in a fairly quiet neighborhood at the moment. So I might start sweating and pass out by the end of this show, just to give you a warning.
All right. Well, if we hear the old thump 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 thump, we'll know what happened. So
yeah, just kick her home without me, and
absolutely
wish me well.
Absolutely. So Kathleen Kennedy recently gave a Star Wars update on new content coming out. Really, the rundown looks like this. Taika Waititi's film will probably be the next big screen outing for the Star Wars franchise. And that looks to be targeted for, I believe, They were saying 2023.
Are they saying what that's about? Like, is there any hint?
No. Nope.
All right, fair enough. The
just
thing is, I'm in for that.
What's that?
I'm in for that. Whatever it is, I'm in for it because so far Taika has not really steered me wrong.
No, he's probably going to give us something that's a little bit off the beaten path as we've seen, but will be probably worth it nonetheless.
Watch it be the most straight-laced, button-down thing ever, just as a swerve. It would be great. Like the most serious, dramatic movie without a chuckle to be found.
No.
I don't know. I don't know that it would happen, really.
So the next update was Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron is in the works, but is much further behind than Taika's film. So again, that is why his film will most likely be next on the big screen. I should correct something. There is not a date given here. There's not a year given. I'm assuming 2023. So 2023, 2024. Taika Waititi's movie's coming out. Rogue Squadron, a little bit further off, so do your own math on that one. Rian Johnson's trilogy, that's sidelined. Thank you. And Feige.
Whoa. It's sidelined completely?
Sidelined completely because he is unbelievably busy with Knives Out and the deal he's made with Netflix for multiple movies, which tells me that is probably not going to happen in the near decade.
Yeah, that's right. Because he got a deal from Netflix for like Knives Out 2 and 3, I believe.
Yes,
and I think Daniel Craig was like all about doing more of those. Yes.
If you saw Knives Out, you know why. You know.
Well,
why.
The thing is, here's the weird thing. I was loving Knives Out, and me and the wife were watching it. We got about halfway through, and I don't remember what happened. Either we were really tired, or we had to go somewhere to do something, and so we never picked it back up. And so I have not yet finished it. But oh my gosh, Daniel Craig with his foghorn, leghorn, like way over the top accent. Oh,
I say,
I do declare. I mean, it's awesome. I love it.
Fantastic.
Like I could watch 10 of those movies. Like I'm all in.
Nice.
In. So I mean, if that's what Rian Johnson is doing, I guess I'll wait.
Yep. Well, and we'll just have to wait for whatever that trilogy was supposed to be, if it happens at all. Ironically,
even though that was like the most interesting Star Wars movie in quite a long time, I will still wait.
It was. And then ironically, from our first story, Kevin Feige is also rumored to have a movie, a Star Wars movie that will be in motion at some point, but she confirmed that is not in the works at this time. So nothing from the mighty Feige on the Star Wars front. But she did confirm for 2022, 2023, the slate of shows on the Plus are going to be, as we know, and as we were talking about tonight, Kenobi, of course, Mando Season 3, which we're excited for, the Ahsoka series, and then, of course, the Acolyte will follow after Ahsoka. So that probably Acolyte? In 2023.
What's the Acolyte?
We don't know yet. It is supposed to be set about 100 years prior to the Star Wars movies, and that's something I read recently. It's interesting. It's 100 years because one of the leading theories was that it was going to be the story of how Palpatine being the Acolyte became the Sith apprentice of Darth Plagueis, and then kind of his rise to where he became, kind of the senator and then ultimately the emperor, was the original thought. But where it's 100 years out, that can't be right if you do the math. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's someone who's kind of laying the path for what Palpatine will be, if it's Plagueis himself, or what that would be. Because the idea being that the whole story he tells in Revenge of the Sith about Darth Plagueis was in fact his master, and he was the apprentice who killed him. So the thought is the Acolyte is really that, but don't really know at this point. No confirmation at this time.
Oh, you know what I bet it is? Here's the opening of the entire show. You get the Jedi robe, kind of the brownish, blackish, robe, but it's all tattered, very dusty.
Ooh.
Like kind of a rough hewn sort of thing, like not quite, the nice ones that we see later on, probably made of polyester and rayon, that sort of thing. Like this is definitely like wool kind of blend. And
you go into an awful lot of detail about the fabric, my friend. Jeez Louise.
I don't know. I kind of went there. So walking across a sandy, rocky terrain, comes to this doorway. A hand reaches out, knocks on the door, opens the door, and there, beneath a single light, is Ron Simmons.
Lord.
Damn.
Well, he was an acolyte.
Tell me you wouldn't watch that.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh, that music was phenomenal back in the day, man. When that music hit, you knew some heads were getting rocked. You know what I mean?
Oh, I just that was one of my favorite gimmicks, because you could just tell those guys were just like loving life. Like, so you want us to sit here, smoke cigars, drink beer, and just hang out, and then do funny stuff, and then just beat the living crap out of people? And we still get paid, right?
Had to have been the best job ever.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, you could, and the thing is, you could tell those guys were having fun. You could tell. I bet the other wrestlers were like fighting to be included in those vignettes. You know, like, can't I do something with the acolytes? I don't care if I have to get beat. Well, actually, I do care if I get beat up.
There was something I saw on Twitter today that it was, I forget how many years ago, but it was something about Chris Jericho defeating Triple H on SmackDown to win the WWF Championship, back then. So I was watching the clip, and so he pins him, and it was, through shenanigans. And Jericho rolls out of the ring, and he's running up the ramp with the belt, and the acolyte, I think Jericho had secured the services of the APA, and so they're there blocking Triple H, who's trying to get to Jericho, and it was just hysterical. Like Simmons and Layfield just laying shoulders into him, like, no, you're not passing, sir. You shall not pass. Is what happened there. So it was great. Hysterical. I that was such a great gimmick, and used well, where, whether it was a face or a heel, paying the money to get the boys down there and do some security and roughing up. So gotta love it.
Or better yet, when someone would walk around the door, like even The Rock would walk around the door, and they're like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?"
You're killing the gimmick. You're killing it.
Oh, it's great. It was great.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyways, what were we talking about again?
Somehow we were talking about Star Wars, and that led us down the rabbit hole of WWE. So really, that kind of sums everything up. Star Wars new content, for the most part, will be on the small screen through the Plus, and Taika Waititi's film will be the next big screen adventure in 2023 or 2024. So that is that item. Our next item is actually kind of revisiting our Doctor Strange reel or Jabroni, because, once again, not Uncle Todd, sorry, the man they call Tim fell for this hook, line, and sinker. But the writer of, one of the writers for Doctor Strange, Michael Waldron, confirmed that the Tom Cruise as Tony Stark rumor that was rolling around is suspect. Apparently the rumor was made up. He said he loved the idea of Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, but there was never actually anything material that happened with that. There is nothing on the cutting room floor of Cruise as Stark. It was an idea. That is all. And he said any rumors about it were pure fiction, because they filmed nothing with Mr. Cruise. So once again, the man they call Tim loses the real and the jabroni because he does not know how to discern fact from fiction. So there we have it.
Well, the thing is, that's one of those things. It almost smelled to me like it was a theory that would have been cooked up by someone at Marvel to throw people off. Like, give them something to talk about. It reminds me of there was an interview with Hunter S. Thompson. Back in the 70s, where he's talking about, there was a rumor going around that this candidate was on, was it Humphrey? Gosh, I can't remember now. I think it might have been Hubert Humphrey, but that he was on this drug Ibogaine. And they're like, well, well, how did you hear that rumor? He's like, oh, well, I started it. And he was just kind of riffing, and then he realized like people were writing it down. Like they took it and they ran with it. And it was just something he was riffing on. And he's like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing now.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But stuff like that, it makes me wonder, like, why wouldn't you, if you were Marvel, like just seed out every so often? Like, you don't want to get too big with it, but every so often just throw like, hey, you know what? I heard that there might be blah, blah, blah,
watch
blah,
what
blah,
happens.
And
it's like
and then
throwing
that
a
gives
stone in a pond and watching the way the ripples.
Yeah, which is another reason why no one will ever let me be a studio executive or a producer or anything like that, because I would be doing stuff like that constantly just to amuse myself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I once I read that and I saw, there was never anything filmed and it was purely a rumor. It was a false rumor. I'm like, oh my gosh. Once again, fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yes,
all right.
did.
And
you got dunced.
I did. And this time it was Tony Stank. So it stank me out. Finally, news today. If we're timely, if we're nothing else here at Free Range Idiocy, Week in Geek.
Usually it's nothing else.
Colin Cantwell died at the age of 90, Saturday in Colorado. He is the man who designed and created the prototypes of what would be the X-Wing, Star Destroyer, TIE Fighter, Death Star, and other ships that we saw in Episode 4, A New Hope. So his legacy is introducing an entire line of starships that have captured the imagination, inspired fans around the world who went into aerospace technology to only find that they can't quite design ships the way that they behave in those movies.
Not really, no. Not so much.
But fascinatingly enough, as I was reading the article, worked at NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So there is some grounding, I guess, to the designs he came up with. And Mr. Cantwell apparently also was feeding Walter Cronkite updates on the moon landing in 1969. So this guy has led a very, very interesting life, I believe.
That's some cool stuff right there.
And designed and Uncle Todd and I were chatting in our pre-production meeting just how fascinating this sort of stuff is to me, because you think about these designs, the Death Star, the Millennium Falcon, how do you know this stuff is going to stick the way that it does? You know what I mean? Like who knows that stuff is going to resonate with people? Apparently this guy did, because he designed it all. So just very fascinating aspect of these movies that I enjoy. It's trying to understand some of the history behind how these people came up with this stuff, like some of the lore behind like the Boba Fett character and how he started out as like a thing in a parade, and it just kind of the mystique just kind of grew over time and turned into this thing that we all, those of us from the 80s just became kind of enamored with as this, kind of mystery character. And so it's just interesting to kind of see, how, or just hear about someone like this who had such an impact, on pop culture through these movies and just through his designs and through his prototyping. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. Rest in peace, Colin.
Indeed. And that, my friends, is the Week in Geek.
And a reasonably sized Week in Geek. My goodness.
Oh, I was trying to move it along. You were trying to take us off on all the different paths, but I was moving it forward, baby. I was carrying the ball. I was moving it. I was like Thurman Thomas, pounding through the line.
Good call. Man, watching, I was rewatching Four Falls of Buffalo.
Yeah,
months ago, and I think it was one of my Week in Geek, not Week in Geeks, and another things. But oh my gosh, it's easy to forget just like how scary good Thurman Thomas was.
Oh yeah,
in his day. And that if he had played like another 10, 12 years, in the future, with the advances in sports medicine and training and all that. I mean, he didn't have that long of a career. Like he had a tremendous peak and was incredibly dangerous. But he could have, like, looking at how long some players have managed to play in their careers, just with the way that, things have advanced in the past 20, 25 years, man, can you imagine another 3-4 years of Thurman Thomas just wreaking havoc in the AFC East? I mean, oh my gosh, he was frighteningly good.
Yeah. And as folks have those who have listened for a long time know, we are Patriot fans at heart. However, respect to the Bills organization. I think people forget, with the the 4 Super Bowl losses, the fact that team was a powerhouse. They went to the dance that many times for a reason, and he was a big part of that. And they, with him and Kelly and Don Beebe and just, oh my gosh, the weapons they had. I mean, they were just, they were forced to be reckoned with, man. They were forced to be reckoned with.
Oh, totally. I mean, so just, and we won't go too far into this. Let me see here.
He's going down the rabbit hole now, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, you've got it. He's a 1991 NFL MVP, 5 Pro Bowls. Where's his he is 16th overall in career rushing yards, 43rd in rushing TDs. Some of that is kind of like, I would have thought he'd be closer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, actually, yeah. So, I mean, these stats, but granted, you have to look at some of this with a grain of salt, because again, he played how many years? 12 years.
Jeez.
The last one in Miami. Anyone remember that one? I don't.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, 9 games, no starts. Yeah, that was not his finest hour. The last couple of years in Buffalo were not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was back in the late 80s, early 90s. That dude was frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely frightening.
Yep.
Especially as a Patriots fan, because I mean, there was no way that the Patriots in the early 90s were going to stop him. None whatsoever. You're just like, oh dear God, just let him not go for 200 on us, please.
Yeah,
that was about all you were going to get.
I'm
Anyways,
looking up real quick. One more thing. This is a deep cut. Let's see.
We're doing deep cuts now. Really? Are you going to have a mixtape?
Thurman Thomas. Okay, if you were a fan of Nintendo back in the day, there was a game called Tecmo Super Bowl, and there was a game called Tecmo Bowl, and then the sequel to it was Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Thurman Thomas, along with Bo Jackson, were 2 of the deadliest running backs that you could use in that game. Not the most precise precise game when you consider what we have today with Madden and so forth, but it was hysterical to use those 2, because they would just like toss. Basically, you'd have defenders encroach upon them, and then they would literally just go flying through the air. You know what I mean? Like, it was like that was the kind of rating they had, because in reality they were that good. So I wanted to double check that one before I said it, but yeah, Thurman Thomas, Tecmo Super Bowl. If you still have that game, pop it in, because he was phenomenal in it. So,
and both in the AFC version of that game, which is who in the NFC was going to compete with that at that time.
Yeah,
Yep. Oy vey. Well, thank you, sir, for all that digging in the Week in Geek, and now we are going to get to the main event, which is all the interweb rumors. Are you going to do the Michael Buffer thing? Because we're going to get sued.
I was being silly in doing it. No more ballyhoo. Okay. Please go ahead.
Well, no, because I was going to say he sues people for that. Like that whole delivery is trademarked.
Yeah, we'll just throw it all Patrick's way.
Yeah, that's going to work. Anyways, so we are going to go through all the interweb rumors surrounding Kenobi and determine which is the real, which is the jabroni, what's going to happen, what isn't. And quite honestly, if you put money on any of our predictions, you're caveat emptor, baby, because we are idiots. So, yes.
I will just say Exhibit A to the grand jury. The Bengals Super Bowl run and pick that we made this past January as evidence of our phenomenal ability to pick a winner.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, did any of us? Because I didn't watch a damn thing of football this year. I've made my opinions of the NFL well known, so I had no frame of reference for that. And then, how much football did you really watch? And did you watch anything to do with the Bengals?
Oh, nothing with the Bengals. I mean, I was
see, there you go.
So surprised that they even made it. But my rule is when my team does not make it, I go with the most underdog kind of team, that, you know, the team that hasn't been there, the team that hasn't, you know, won in a long time. Usually there's one of the two has that kind of history there, and I usually try to throw my free range idiocy weight behind that one. And in this case, it was the Bengals. I wanted to see them win and win big against LA. And unfortunately, it was a complete repeat of the San Francisco game from '89. So
yeah,
there you have it.
Yeah, we kind of put the hex on them.
Oh,
but anyways,
we did.
That's just our way of saying don't take any of these predictions to the bank. Don't even take them to your ATM. Don't even take them to your mailbox, quite honestly, because who knows? But as far as we're concerned, like this stuff is a lead pipe cinch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, you've got some sources for these rumors, which I'll let you get through. However, one thing I'm going to put you on the spot here, sir, because we just not that long ago did our Real and Jabroni returns from Doctor Strange 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Indeed.
And for the first time ever, we came out in a tie.
Stalemate.
A standoff, if you will. So an idea I had.
Yes, sir.
How would you feel about double or nothing on this one?
Oh, sure. You're going to tell me that now that I went ahead and I made all these picks when I was not in the best frame of mind and just said, screw it. I'm just going to go with where the heart takes me. And I don't care if it's going to be real or not. I'm just going to put what I want. You're going to go double or nothing.
That's what you did anyways. That's what I do.
I did. Hey, I played Doctor Strange smart, and I at least tied you and didn't lose. So there was something there. This time
Yes, but if you'd gone with what the heart wants, then you might have won.
The heart wants what the heart wants. Sure, we can go double or nothing. Let's do it.
Should have given it to the Marx Brothers.
Money penny. All right, let's do it.
It tells me that goose-stepping morons like yourself should be reading books instead of burning them.
Got to put some stank on the burn.
Well, no, he really did. He was kind of subtle on that one. I don't
know. I felt he put it was subtle stank. There was stank on it, but it was subtle.
I'll have to go. Okay, I'll let you decide what that means. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I've known this man for over 20 years, and even I don't know what the hell he's talking about right now. So so we're doing double or nothing, ladies and gentlemen. This is exciting. If not for you, it is for me, because I might get 2 more bottles of bourbon out of this. So I'm just absolutely I'm tingly. I tell you right now, I'm tingly.
Uncle Todd is looking to populate his shelf, is what he's looking to do.
Not only are my hackles in an uproar, they're doing the cha-cha right now. It's amazing.
He's looking to populate through the adjudication and the litigation of the results of Kenobi here. So let's see.
Well, you know,
do you even have the spreadsheet open? I'm in the spreadsheet. I don't see you in it.
I'm not. Like I told you, I want to be able to.
Okay. All right.
I like to be surprised.
Do I need to type your responses in, or are you going to open it up and type them in yourself?
Oh my heavens! All of a sudden now I got to do work for this. What the hell is wrong with you?
I will type them in. That is fine. I will type them in.
I'll let me open it up. My goodness, I don't want you to be upset. Don't want to upset you.
I'm not upset.
I just want to understand the
logistics.
Because you hit it like in like a different folder and everything.
It's in the folder called Real Jabroni.
I know, but it's not where I normally go. Oh gosh, and used Arial font. Oh, I hate Arial.
All right. Oh, there he is.
let's get this shindig rolling, shall we?
So I got to say, but before we start, sources, as Uncle Todd alluded to, this was actually a little bit more challenging than Doctor Strange because, this was something that Ewan McGregor referred to last week in an interview where he complimented, Disney, the company overall, and just saying everyone's done a really good job of making sure things have stayed kind of quiet on the important stuff. So there hasn't been a lot of really juicy or good rumors out there. Found a couple through screenrant.com, which we typically go to sometimes. Another site called looper.com, and then just my brain. because this was actually, to his credit, they've done a pretty good job of keeping a lot of stuff under wraps. Outside of the obvious, thing that all fans are looking forward to, which is for lack of let me put on my Vince McMahon hat. This is going to be Kenobi Vader 2, not Electric Boogaloo. But they're
time.
That's right.
It's time. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, wrong Vader. I'm getting so confused with these things.
Damn. But everyone's looking forward to seeing this second go around with Vader and with Kenobi. That is, if you will, the main event. So with that being said, these rumors may seem a bit pedestrian because really what I did was looked at the prequel series going into episode 4 and tried to put together some things that whether it's characters that may appear, whether it is potential storylines based on things we've seen in the past. Again, this is the beauty of the rumors, folks. It could be totally wrong, could be almost right on the money. We'll find out. So with that being said, anything from you, sir, before we get started?
Nothing. Let's rip it. Grip it, baby.
As we are wont to do, our first set of rumors are going to be about what we will see or may not see in the series. So we call this in or out. So we will run through these characters and adjudicate on whether they will be present or not in the series. So number 1, my friend, Darth Maul will be in the series, real or jabroni?
Actually,
now the thought behind this was that basically because of the time frame this takes place in, Darth Maul is present. I don't know if he's part of the what is it called? Crimson Dawn. Don't know if he's yet involved with that because, again, from the Solo movie, we know he's part of that. But does he cross paths with Kenobi in this series? He does exist, and it could happen. You know what I mean? So there is the possibility of it. But whether it happens or not is for Uncle Todd to adjudicate.
I'm gonna go jabroni. I think it's just you already know you're getting Vader, you're getting the Inquisitors. There's going to be some other folks here to kind of knit episode 3 to 4, or at least kind of get us through that journey. Plus, you got to introduce some new stuff. Like, there's got to be a couple new characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like when you're talking about, so and so is, like Wolverine is going to be in Doctor Strange 2. Really? Because you kind of need, actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I kind of say that you need to give, Darth Maul his screen time, but George didn't really do that. So, I mean, I guess they could do that in this series, but I like to think that now we have a bit more of a sensical approach to things. I'm going to go jabroni.
All right. Makes sense. All right. Number 2. Now, this one's interesting. So Boba Fett will be in the series. I'm waiting for your reaction before I say anything.
Jabroni.
Okay. Here is how this is I thought Uncle Todd would call shenanigans on this, but here's how the maths work out on this. Attack of the Clones, Boba is about 8 or 9 years old, I believe. And Revenge of the Sith is about 2 to 3 years after that, so he would be 12 at that point. And then this movie takes place 9 years, I believe, or 10 years, after Revenge of the Sith. So he would be in his early 20s. So this would be Boba Fett as a bounty hunter early on. And one of the prevailing rumors is we would see him and Vader, because as you saw in the trailer, they talk about getting bounty hunters on Kenobi as well, that we would see a very young Boba Fett early in his bounty hunting career. And one of the prevailing theories is we would see the reason why in Empire Strikes Back Vader says no disintegrations, because Fett is one of the ones that goes after Kenobi and may end up disintegrating a few people here or there, much to Vader's chagrin. Now, obviously not Kenobi, because he makes it to episode 4. But that is one of the theories behind this, is that Fett actually does have a bit of a role here as one of the parties who are trying to hunt down one Obi-Wan Kenobi. Does that change your answer at all?
Yeah, when you put it like that, I'll.
He's going for the push, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I didn't even give my pick for Darth Maul. I said Jabroni as well. I say the real for Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm gonna go real because the more you when you first said it, I'm like, nah. Again, the same thing with Darth Maul. Too cute, too much. The way you just put it, I'm rooting for it. I'm like, yes, I totally want to see young Boba Fett disintegrate somebody, and I want it to be like unintentional, so that he's like, oh wow, almost like in Spider-Man, Homecoming. Yeah, and Michael Keaton's character there, he's like, "Does this work?" And then he goes and just like turns the guy to ash. He's like, "I thought that was isn't that the zero gravity gun?" Nope. Oh well. Oh, I would love to see something like that. That would be great. Okay, fine.
That or he disintegrates someone and then looks around and says, "I'm retiring to the sands of Tatooine." So, anyways,
yeah. Maybe he is now part of the. Well, although he'd be younger, so he'd be like, he's now part of the sands of Tatooine.
They have to up his voice by an octave
before his voice changed.
Oh my gosh!
Or maybe his voice is in the process of change. Would you love that? Like a mid-puberty Boba Fett.
The old Peter Brady routine, right? It's time to change.
Sands of Tatooine.
Hello, sir. Oh gosh. Well, and one thing about this rumor is it doesn't carry a lot of complexity to it. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to weave him in if it's about hunting this guy down. He doesn't have to have a lot of screen time. It's a pop in, pop out kind of thing. It feels like they could do something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll go with it.
All right, number 3, Grand Moff Tarkin will be in the series. Real or Jabroni? I put Jabroni.
Well, it raises the question of who is guiding Vader, because we saw Tarkin. We know the Emperor's going to be there. We know that Tarkin was in Rogue One. Mm-hmm. However,
and we know Tarkin, at least from the little bit I saw of the Bad Batch, Tarkin had a presence, at least in the beginning of that season. So I don't know that Tarkin has to be part of this, because it feels like Vader is kind of the big bad and in command of the Inquisitors. So I don't know that we need to have Tarkin there. That's my reasoning.
I'm going to go real.
Oh, we have a difference, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it'll be a bit part, but I think he might be in there. You're going to have to explain to me who the hell this next guy is, because I got no idea.
So in Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan takes a dart that was used to, I think it was the attack on Padme when she was sleeping. There's a dart he takes to a friend of his who works at a diner. And that friend's name is Dexter Jetser. He's the one who points him in the way of Camino, where he goes to that planet with all the ocean craziness, and that's where the cloning is happening. And so the idea being that because he's this kind of side friend of Kenobi, would, since Kenobi's going off world from Tatooine to somewhere else, would he go back to his friend to kind of suss out whatever the mystery is that is going on, because this friend of his, Dexter, seems to have a lot of knowledge of other races, of other technologies, and things like that. So that's really what's behind this is, do we see a character introduced in Attack of the Clones come back again as part of Kenobi's journey for whatever mission he's on that we're just not clear on?
Sure, why not? Real.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, next one. And I did the reel as well on that, because I think it'd be kind of a nice, kind of nod back to the character. Number 5, young Ahsoka will be in the series. Now, this is specific, in a flashback. So there is rumors that we are going to get some scenes with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor as, live action Clone Wars era action. So this is kind of playing off of that we will see Anakin before the Vader turn, and we will see his Padawan Ahsoka, not most likely Rosario Dawson, but someone younger playing that character. I went the real on this.
Okay, hang on one second.
Yes, sir.
What? Okay. All right. Good night. Yes, the pleasures of recording at home.
Everything okay?
All right. So, no, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Daughter's just going to bed like an hour after she said she was going to go bed. You know, I mean, because I'm like parent of the year.
You are, sir. You are.
I'm leaving all this in too because
because you don't deal with the ballyhoo.
No,
Actually, you encourage the ballyhoo is what you do.
There's plenty of ballyhoo around here. There's more ballyhoo than I know what to do with. There's more ballyhoo around here than you can shake a stick at. Which
There we go.
That's a whole lot because you can shake a stick at a lot.
You could. You could.
Yeah, I'll go real. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool. It would be actually kind of cool if it was if somehow they could use the voice of the actor who voiced her in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, I mean, who knows? So yeah, that'd be cool. Why not?
All right, number 6, young Leia will be in the series. This is kind of a key one because there's some other rumors around that I touch on later on. But yes, young Leia will be in the series. Real or Jabroni?
I mean, do we know that young Luke is going to be in the series?
Well, we've seen him in the trailer.
I would imagine. Oh,
we've seen him in the trailer.
Jeez. I've watched so many trailers over the past couple days that I'm
all right, look, when you watch the Mission Impossible one today, that wasn't Luke Skywalker played by Tom Cruise. You understand?
It wasn't? I thought I saw a pod racer.
The rumor was Tony Stank was played by Tom Cruise.
Oh, man. Again, I'm just so confused lately.
Uncle Todd's confusing his franchises.
It's Daddy's cough medicine that just must be going off at this point.
He needs his double oaked. It's arriving on Thursday.
Yeah, so I've heard. I'll believe it when it shows up.
I have the UPS receipt to prove it.
Okay. Sure. Let's go real on that one. Why not?
Right. Very nice.
Next. You went real on that as well.
I went real on that as well. And I forgot to mention in the beginning, we will be once again involving our junior division in this. We're just not going to read off their answers right now, mainly because they haven't filled it out yet, even though we shared it with them. So,
true.
Although one of them has been down with COVID, so we give her a pass on that. All right.
Well, no, that's all the more reason why she should have been doing this.
And that's why you're parent of the year.
Exactly. Yes. Shill for daddy. Shill for daddy. Anyways,
number 7, Bail Organa, played by the amazing, always effervescent Jimmy Smits, will be in the series.
Does he make it to Rogue One?
He is not in Rogue One, but he is in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
This is kind of tied to the young Leia rumor in a way.
Yeah,
because he is the parent, the step parent, if you will, of Leia, adoptive.
Fine, I'll go real.
I went the real on this as well.
Yeah, it makes way too much sense, and you know what? I'm just going to go real on all of them.
Well, but here's the thing. So. And I'm suffering from the same thing, and this is why I kind of balked a little bit the double or nothing thing at first. But this rumor about Leia is very compelling because it is a
all right,
story.
What's the rumor? For heaven's sake, you keep on alluding to this.
Sorry.
What is a rumor? I don't know. I'm not
Coming
inside
up,
your head.
We'll talk about the rumor in more depth or adjudicate it. But what the rumor is that Kenobi has to go off world because Leia is basically starting to show Force-like abilities, and that is what is drawing the Inquisitors. And so Kenobi is trying to, as much as he's trying to protect Luke, is now having to run over to Alderaan, if you will, to basically somehow deactivate Leia. And I say it that way because I'm wondering if they're going to explain why Leia doesn't understand that she has these abilities during episodes 4 and 5. It's not until she understands she has a connection with Luke that she, in Return of the Jedi, when she starts to realize that she has this in her blood. And so
are we heading
the
towards
rumor
like
is basically that Kenobi's trying to protect Leia.
Are we heading towards like some sort of like X-Men Dark Phoenix sort of storyline here where somehow he's going to use his Jedi mind powers to like sequester her powers or something like that? It's going to be like the equivalent of like the MIB flashy thing or something?
Well, yeah. And I have a rumor later on about that, about, the fact that maybe he uses some force ability that we haven't been exposed to yet to almost like blind her to what her ability is. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
Because, and I say it's compelling because then it plays into what we've seen in the trailer with what the Inquisitors are talking about. The trailer is kind of leading us down the path thinking that Kenobi's trying to help other Jedi who are hiding. I don't think he's trying to help other Jedi who are hiding. I think what he's trying to do is protect Leia. Because she is on
been great. So this is set like 10 so the
10
kids
years.
Leia and Luke are gonna be like 10 years old, right?
Basically. Yep.
Okay. What would have been fantastic is if we took this in a totally different way and like went total like 1980s like adventures in babysitting, except it's in space with Jedi.
Oh, good Lord.
Tell me you wouldn't watch that. That'd be a good
watch
fun.
It's got to say this is an Uncle Todd joint. That's what it's got to say in the beginning of it, though.
That's all right. I'll take 10%. I'm not too prideful.
You'll take his $3.50.
You bet your bippy I will. All right, where were we here?
Loch Ness Monster. All right. Number 8. Obi-Wan will commune with Qui-Gon or Yoda.
Okay, this is a real, because I mean you got two of them there. So I mean, yeah. That's easy. That's like fish in the barrel.
Number 9.
Womp rat in the.
We will see a Womp rat in the sands of Tatooine.
What the hell is a Womp rat?
Well, that's the thing. We keep hearing about it, but we've never seen it. So I'm wondering if they're just going to have like a throwaway scene where you see a Womp rat, and then you see young Luke like take him out.
That'd be great, and then like fry it and eat it.
Dinner.
Actually, it'd be even better if it was like Yoda. Yoda's like, and then it ties into Grogu always wanting the frogs, and you see the Womp rat, and he's like,
and by the way,
Yoda's species just likes to eat varmints. That's what it is.
Good Lord. So I went Jabroni on this one. By the way, I went the real on the prior two. So I went real on Bail Organa. I went real on Obi-Wan will commune with Qui-Gon or Yoda. Jabroni on the Womp rat. What say you, sir?
I'm going real on the Womp rat. I want to see me a Womp rat.
Uncle Todd wants to see the Womp rat. All
this
right.
entire thing is riding on Moff Tarkin and Womp rat so far. And you know what? I'd have it no other way.
If you got to hang your hat on something, I suppose that's the thing. Number 10.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you hang your hat on a Womp rat, who knows where the hell it's going to be? I mean, they kind of sound like they scurry a little bit.
Fair enough. Number 10. Clones Rex or Cody will be in the series. So we're talking about Commander Rex and Commander Cody. Cody, one time being partnered with Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith on one of their missions. So I think it'd be interesting for Tamura Morrison to make an appearance as one of the clones, and be a part of the action that happens here. So, what say you, sir? I went the real on this.
My heart wants to say yes because I like those characters, but I mean, we're dealing with like 5 or 6 shows here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a lot to pack in. I mean, we've already got this whole Leia subplot and everything else.
I know.
But the heart wants what the heart wants. I'll go real.
The heart wants what the heart wants, indeed.
I love how that's just become our now just what the hell expression.
Sean Connery is the hidden sponsor of
it just sounds much more classy.
From the beyond.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the guy, the 2 writers who ended up working with Sean Connery, and this guy has this entire story about how they spent like a couple of days working over a script with Sean Connery. And
no.
Oh my gosh, it was great. I'll see if I can find that video. That would be great if I could. Let me note that down and see if I can get it for the show notes. But if I find it, I will include it in the show notes. I don't want to spoil anything though.
Fair enough. Number 11. In the trailer, we see Uncle Owen. But the rumor here for number 11 is Aunt Beru will be in the series. Real or jabroni? I went jabroni.
Why would you go jabroni?
Well, just because you see Uncle Owen doesn't mean you're going to see Aunt Beru. What is Kenobi going to do? Walk up to the house and say, hello? Well, hello there. I have the higher ground.
Maybe he's been like making a pass at Aunt Beru.
Oh, good Lord. Will you stop?
Back before, getting all withered and stuff from being out.
Go all Bobby the Brain Heenan, don't you?
Maybe he was trying to put a move on her.
Okay.
I mean, Ben's been out there in the desert all by himself. It gets lonely out there on the sands between.
Good God. All right, I went
just ask Boba.
Yeah, well, he knows. He knows.
On the sands of Tatooine.
What say you, sir?
So what? You went jabroni.
I went jabroni.
You're anti-Beru. I'm going real.
All right.
Next.
All right, number 12. Here's where it gets good. The Emperor will be in the series. I went the real on this.
Yeah, he's got to be, right?
He's one of the he's one of your main eventers. You got to have him make an appearance to pop the crowd, right?
I would think. I mean, yeah.
Use standard wrestling logic, that would only make sense.
It's gonna be like Steve Austin, not this WrestleMania, but a few back where he just came out in the little 4-wheeler and then took off again.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's what he's gonna do. The Palpatine on an ATV. Going over a sand dune.
And then as he rides by the camera, you hear the cackling or whatever it is he does. Oh my gosh.
Roll it again.
Roll it again. That's right. All right. Number 13, the Death Star will be a setting in the series. So if you remember the end of Revenge of the Sith, the Death Star is beginning construction. This is 10 years later. So there is some semblance of a space station most likely constructed. Not operational, though.
Well, I mean, it all depends. If it's anything like the construction around here in Maine, I mean, that sucker might still be at, step one.
Jeez. The local Union 404 thanks you for your faith in them.
There's a project going like 3 towns over that has been going since last August, and they still have not buttoned that mother up. And I'm just like, what is going on here?
I have a work colleague who now lives in Dallas, Texas, who used to live in Chicago, and he perfectly sums up Chicago seasons. He says there's 2 seasons in Chicago. There's winter and there's construction.
Well, I mean, there's only but like 3 seasons in Texas. There's hot, so hot that then the electricity goes out, and then there's there's 4. Then there's cold, and then there's so cold that the electricity goes out.
Indeed.
So there's your options, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I don't know. I'll take road construction and winter over. Are we going to have electricity today? I don't know.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go real.
I went the real as well. I went the real on the Emperor as well, if I didn't say that already.
I mean, Tarkin's got to be hanging out somewhere.
Indeed. Now, interestingly enough, number 14, threw this one in there because it is fitting within the time frame. Grogu will be in this series. We will see Grogu.
That's a big jabroni. That is getting way too cute.
That's too much shenanigans.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You just got to. You can't have everything everywhere all the time. Well, then again, that wasn't that the title of the movie. That was just
Tom
Michelle Yeoh.
Ballyhoo?
No, the Everything All at Once or something like that.
Yes.
Which I have not seen, but I've heard is absolutely fantastic.
I've heard the same thing. I would like to see it.
Yeah, same.
All right, that ends our in or out section. We're now in
and
the
you went
section.
Jabroni on Grogu as well, though, right?
I went Jabroni on Grogu as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right, our next section is ooh-wee. What's up with that? What's up with that? All right. This is a little bit more about the plot.
Okay.
Number 15. Obi-Wan leaves Tatooine to help an endangered young Leia. I went the real.
Yeah, we're in for a penny, in for a pound on this one already.
You and I are anchored on this Leia thing. If Leia has nothing to do with this series, this entire reel of Jabroni is going down like the Titanic. Good Lord.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care if as long as we're both wrong equally, it's fine. I mean, my big thing, I've got 2 bottles of bourbon. I got a bottle of bourbon riding on Moff Tarkin and a bottle of bourbon riding on Womp Rats right now.
Right.
I don't know about you. My sphincter is puckered up like a snare drum right now. It's I'm a little nervous about this.
Just to let our listening audience know, I had no knowledge of the double or nothing stipulation prior to making my picks. I made my picks in a fit of anger, of distraught, due to situations that transpired over the weekend.
What the hell's going on?
I'm just letting everyone know I made these picks in advance, knowing that there'd be 2 bottles of bourbon on the line.
Why don't you just throw in a heretofore and a consequently, and then we'll be just done with it?
Yes, suspect. All right, number 16. We again continue to expound upon the Leia subplot. Young Leia begins tapping into the Force, unknowingly drawing the Inquisitors to her. So this is the idea that she is not really, consciously trying to do this, but she's starting to realize there's something going on with her. There's power she can unleash, and the mere act of doing it is drawing the Inquisitors to her. Hence, the knight on the white shining steed, one Obi-Wan Kenobi, coming to her rescue. What say you, sir?
There's a white shining steed, isn't he? Isn't he riding one of those sand people? What is it? The
the
bantha. Isn't he riding like the least practical transport?
If he's riding the bantha, it's going to take him 15 years to get there.
Yeah.
Move about 10 feet in about a day.
It's like, my gosh, this is Snuffleupagus with horns. I mean, what the hell is this thing?
It's Jim Henson special.
It moves like Snuffleupagus with a hernia. What the hell is going on here?
I went the reel on this one. What did you say, sir?
I'm going the real as well.
All right.
Yeah, we're knee deep in this Leia conspiracy theory.
We are bought into Leia hook, line, and sinker. So this is going to be an interesting show when we go through what actually happened.
I'm going to need hip
17.
waders by the time this is done.
Oh my God! Number 17. The Inquisitors are hunting down all remaining Jedi, real or jabroni.
That's their job, isn't it? Real.
Well, okay, so. Contrast that with so you're going to say the real on this one. Number 18, the Inquisitors are hunting only Kenobi. That's the distinction. Like, are the Inquisitors primarily focused on Kenobi, or are they truly hunting down all remaining Jedi?
Well, so we're just we're speaking only in the context of the show for this, right? Because I mean, it's kind of established like they're going around looking for any Jedi.
Yes, I'm saying within the context of the show. Yes. I said Jabroni did this. I agree with your prior statement that they are, in fact, just hunting all Jedi. Kenobi may happen to be the top prize that they're going after, but they are, in theory, hunting all Jedi.
Well, I'm going to have my cake and eat it too here, and I'll explain to you how. Because once again, if you can't eat the cake, what's the point of having the cake? That's just my theory. I get the cake. I'm eating that mother. Well, no, that qualifies as part of the cake.
All right.
So I think that they are primarily and maybe almost exclusively going to be hunting Kenobi in the series. However, I think that you're going to have some scene of them taking out a Jedi to kind of set them up. You know what I mean? Like there will be that just to establish like, oh, they're bad dudes. Mm-hmm. Because people who have watched Rebels or the Inquisitors were in Clone Wars, weren't they?
I thought so.
At any rate, I mean, they're at least in one of those shows. And so there's going to be a certain amount of people who understand, but they haven't been in any of the movies. And they're not exactly like extensively well known or anything like that. So you're going to have a little bit of an explanation of like, okay, who are these dudes? I think that they will be almost exclusively hunting him, but there will be some sort of setup. Like even if it's like pulling a lightsaber out of like a crispy, Jedi, be like, got another one. Oh, right. What? We're supposed to go get this Obi-Wan dude. All right.
All right.
So that, that's not an exact quote, mind you.
Thank you. I appreciate the theatrics.
You're welcome.
Number 19, Boba Fett is hired to hunt down Kenobi. I'm putting the real on this one.
Well, I mean,
I'm going all in on Boba.
I mean, you already talked me into that one. So yeah, it's got to be. Otherwise, there's no point in him being in the show.
All right.
Unless he happens to be flying commercial again. Oh no, that's Mando.
Now,
sorry.
to be clear, the disintegration will be something else. Almost like maybe a misfire. I'm kind of getting into this whole idea, like you're saying, like it's going to be some sort of, comedic thing. Like he's going to make a screw up, like some 20-year-old. He had like too much liquor the night before, and so he just fires something off the wrong way. The next day because he's hungover.
Boba Fett. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to go to the Sands of Tatooine and sleep this off.
Yeah. I feel like my mouth is full of the sands of Tatooine.
Oh my gosh.
I need a little hair of the bantha to get a spotchka. No, not literally hair of a bantha.
Hair of the bantha. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hair of the bantha that carried you across the sands of Tatooine. You never heard that expression?
No.
What kind of a Star Wars fan are you?
Oh my gosh.
The key is you got to get the hairs from, you got to get the hairs right in the middle because you don't want to get too close to the front. You definitely don't want to get too close to the back. It's the hair of the bantha right in the middle is the one you want.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Came into the show thinking we're just going to adjudicate these rumors, and coming out of it, hair of the bantha is cracking me up like nothing else. Oh my God.
And you know what? On our trip, that's going to get quoted at least once.
Oh God, at least 15 times. Jeez Louise.
All right. So we were both all in on Boba. So real for us. What's up next, sir?
Number 20, Kenobi wipes out the Inquisitors. Now, this is not a rumor from a source. I just thought it would be kind of an interesting take to have, Kenobi who is being pursued by them. And, we don't see the Inquisitors in episode 4. It'd be interesting if this journey to find him and capture him or kill him is in fact their undoing. So I'm just throwing the rumor out that he will wipe out the Inquisitors.
I'm going to go Jabroni.
All right. I went the real on this one. I thought it'd be kind of an interesting, just an interesting thing to kind of show that, not him trying to be like brutal like Vader, but just that through the course of just defending himself, he just shows his prowess, shows why he is or why he survived as long as he did, and ends up taking them out. So I hit the wrong button. 1 second.
Messing up your formatting. Look, you did all this hard work on this thing, and now you're messing it up.
Are you kidding me?
The heck did you do?
I don't know. It won't undo it.
Won't undo what?
Hold on. Sorry,
Ladies and gentlemen, the computer science major, like extraordinarily smart person, formatted a cell in Google Docs and it was completely baffled.
No, I hit undo and it didn't undo my action. I can't help that. Okay. I don't know. Anyways. All right, number 21. Vader has Kenobi defeated but cannot bring himself to kill him. Real or Jabroni?
That's Jabroni.
All right, I went Jabroni on that one. All right, number 22. Flip side. Kenobi has Vader defeated but has mercy and leaves him for the second time.
I'm going to say Jabroni just because I hope not, because it would just be like the echo of the dumbest decision of his entire life. And I would really hate to just walk away from this going, you know what, that whole Obi-Wan Kenobi, the wise old man that they have to go to, he is plumb stupid. It's like dumb Gandalf.
Yes,
out in
suspect.
The desert. More than suspect, like downright moronic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you had him once. Okay, I get it. He's your buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still, you're leaving him there in agony rather than putting him out of his misery. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of a little bit of a revenge streak there.
Maybe.
Or, but then you then you have him again, dead rights, and you let him go again. Like, okay.
Well, it just shows how much of a stand-up guy he is. Shows how much of a stand-up guy he is.
It's not a stand-up guy. He's a complete dummy. Here's a bad dude, and you let him go once after he wiped out a bunch of children.
Living by a code.
And the code of being a complete prat.
Number 23.
Quote a couple of the lads from Scruffy Podcasters, I'm guessing. Just to be a complete and utter prat. Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, jabroni for me.
All right. Real for me. Number 23. Kenobi fakes his death, leaving Vader to believe his teacher is finally dead. I want the real on this one.
Yeah, I'm thinking real on this one too, because otherwise, yeah, why wouldn't Vader be out hunting him down? You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. That it's a combination of, he defeats Vader, but maybe there's something that happens where, he seemingly falls to his death, and so Vader thinks he's vanquished or something like that. I don't know. Number 24, Grogu's rescue from the Inquisitors will be shown. So there's a lot of assumption on this one. Assumption.
No, that's a jabroni.
I went jabroni too.
I think it's just too much to tie in. Now watch. They'll tie it in, and it'll be fantastic.
I know. Exactly. I mean, I'm saying jabroni on this too because it feels like it's one of those rumors that's like too much. But to your point, that'll be the thing they actually do. I'm all anchored onto this like Leia thing, and it'll end up being Grogu in the end. Good Lord.
Oh,
all right,
well.
Number 25. There will be a flashback to Anakin and Kenobi during the Clone Wars. I want the real on this one. I think it'd be kind of cool to see a live action callback to Hayden and Ewan back in the day, young bucks that they were.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm going with it because we already talked about Ahsoka making an appearance in a flashback, and that would make the most sense. So sure, why not?
All right, we are done with the section. Ooh wee, what's up with that? What's up with that? All right, now we're moving on to when the man comes around. Number 26. We will see how Kenobi gets the name Old Ben.
Pretty easy. He's old.
I went the real on this one. So for the uninitiated, there is a callback in episode 4 by Luke saying, "Oh, you talking about old Ben?" So the idea being that we get some sort of clue as to how the old Ben moniker came to be,
or just Ben, because I mean, his first name is Obi-Wan, right?
Yes.
I mean, it would make sense. Crap, I'm really trying to find a way for this not to come down to Tarkin and Womp Rat, but that's what, ride or die with a Womp Rat, baby. That's what it is.
For these next 6 episodes, you have no idea how the man they call Tim is going to be rooting against a Womp Rat appearing on screen. Like, this is what it's boiled down to, ladies and gentlemen.
And the thing is, like, any sort of creature that they don't even like say what it is, I'm going to claim that's a Womp Rat.
Okay, no, the Womp Rat is not the Mephisto of Star Wars. Just stop it.
Oh, it is. You did not define that. It said Womp Rat will make an appearance.
It's easy. Someone points and says, "Oh, look, a Womp Rat." That's what it's got to.
No,
that's what's got to happen.
It might just be kind of scurrying along. It doesn't have to have like a little tooltip, like pop up video, like, "Hey, a Womp Rat."
Good Lord.
Could be a thing in the shadows.
2 bottles of bourbon on the line. He loses all his morals. All right. Number 27. Kenobi and young...
You're catching on. Look at this.
Good Lord. Kenobi and young Luke will interact. So in the trailer, we see Kenobi observing young Luke from afar. This is about the two of them actually interacting in some fashion during the series. I went the real.
I'm gonna go jabroni.
All right.
Because I think there's a chance that there just is no interaction. Because I mean, in episode 4, he doesn't really seem like he knows Ben.
Well, he knows old Ben.
Well, he knows of him.
Right.
And it's partly because of his uncle talking about, that crazy old wizard and, whatever they call him.
That doesn't mean Obi-Wan can't walk up to him and say, "Hello there. I have the higher ground." And then walks off. Doesn't need to know who it is.
And that's why they call him Crazy Old Ben, because that's the only thing he ever says to anyone.
Exactly.
I have the higher ground. You're standing on a box.
Maybe we should have titled this episode "Higher." We actually have an episode already called
have the higher ground.
Oh, Lord.
Okay.
That was more Stevie Wonder.
You don't have any pants on, though. Yes, but I have the higher ground. Okay.
Just stop it. Oh, good
Just
Lord.
going to avert my eyes and go over this way.
Good Lord. All right, number 28. Vader will start the series fueled by anger and rage, but at the end will no longer be driven by emotion. So this is from one of the Looper or ScreenRant.com sources. The idea being that Vader is just driven by vengeance, getting back at Kenobi for what happened to him. And in their second face-off, he will lose again and realize how his emotions are getting the better of him, which will lead to the whole idea of this theory is it leads to some kind of reasoning behind why he is a more conservative and reserved, kind of fighter in episode 4. He's not as aggressive. He is much more calculating and strategic, moving into episode 4 and 5. And so I think this is meant to kind of bridge how we get from very impulsive Vader to very strategic and thoughtful Vader. I went the real on this one.
Yeah, fine. Why not? I'll go real.
All right. Number 29, I love this rumor. So I didn't make this up. This was from one of the sources, but it cracked me up and I had to put it in. Kenobi uses a life-draining force power to protect young Luke or young Leia, resulting in him aging quickly in the 9 years that follow before A New Hope. So the rumor here is, from what we see in Kenobi, the series is 9 years before A New Hope. So the question is, why does he go from looking the way he does in the series, which we've seen in the trailer, to now becoming an old man in A New Hope? And the thought is he is using some kind of force power to protect the twins, one or the other. Whether it's this blinding thing or this hiding sort of thing, but it basically sucks the life force out of him because he's using it. I kind of file this under way too complicated and expository to be a real thing, so I went the Jabroni.
Well, here's the thing. Like I've got this down as Jabroni right now, but the more I think about it, I don't know how expository it has to be, because you're already dealing with space magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is space magic, and it's just the Force. And does it really take that much of a leap, or does it really take that much to say I've been using my Force meditation to shield them, from Luke.
Right.
From the Inquisitors or whatever. I don't know. I mean,
like I kind of liken this rumor.
Sense.
Like I kind of liken this rumor though to the whole like Young Avengers forming in Doctor Strange, right? I mean, could it happen? Sure, but does it really make sense that it's going to happen in the context of that movie? Probably not.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot to do just to make two ends meet up that I think everybody kind of understands. I mean, because the thing is, you already have glaring differences going on anyways. And that wasn't just the stuff that Lucas did. I mean, just look at the worlds that he created in the prequel as opposed to the OG trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, completely different worlds. Like they don't even look the same at all.
Yeah.
And to just be like, oh, well, we're going to try and we need to make this even up. It's like the dude who came up with this whole thing didn't really care about it evening up. So why should you?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm going to stick with Jabroni. Yeah, it's a lot just to make that one point, I feel.
Historically, these kind of rumors always end up being false because there's just it means too much. You know what I mean? Like there's too much that needs to be explained for it to really kind of land and resonate.
Well, I don't know that it's so much that has to be explained, but to me, it's such it's such a focus.
Yeah.
That it's not worthwhile because it's just it's not that you have to explain it. It's just that it has to keep coming back.
Right.
It has to be kind of a running thing through the entire show in order to make that progression work.
Yeah.
Is how I look at it. And do you really want to waste time on that just for this thing of like, well, we got to explain how Ewan becomes Alec? Who gives a damn? Like,
yeah,
yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah. All right, we're down to our last two rumors. You ready?
Oh, sure. Why not?
All right. This is another one that comes from one of the two, looper.com or screenrant.com. Kenobi starts the series cut off from the Force, but is reconnected when forced to fight Vader. So the thought here being similar, and to me, this kind of reeks a little bit of Last Jedi, where he's in the desert. He's kind of, licking his wounds from being, from him and Yoda being defeated. And he decides to cut himself off from the Force. And so the thought is, when he starts getting hunted down or they start, finding him and he has to run, that he makes this connection with the Force. He reconnects with Qui-Gon. He reconnects with Yoda. It just feels too much like what Luke went through in Last Jedi, that it feels like repetition. You know what I mean? It feels derivative. So I went to Jabroni on this one. I really hope that's not what they're doing. And quite honestly, it doesn't seem to fit the Kenobi character. I mean, he kind of knew at the end of Revenge of the Sith that he was going to have to go into hiding. This was what they just had to do in order to survive and to, at least keep the twins protected, for the long term. And so I think Kenobi's well aware of the long game in this, and I don't think he's cut himself off from the Force. So I just went Jabroni on it.
Well, it's an interesting thought because at the same time, I still will to this day defend the idea of, The Last Jedi as one of the more interesting Star Wars movies.
Agreed.
And I think that Luke cutting himself off from the Force within the context of his character arc, which a lot of fans just hated, but to me, I'm like, I get it. I know that you want to think that your hero is always going to be a hero, but here it's showing like, what does it happen when your hero falls, or fails
right.
in an important sense and has seen so much happen. I would look at this in more of a defensive footing. And I could see it on that. Not so much that, he's licking his wounds, because I believe that he would probably go and, commune with Qui-Gon or, whatever, because that was hinted at in episode 3. And I could see that, but then I could see him being like, well, the only way to make sure that Inquisitors, Vader, Emperor, whoever, isn't going to find me, or more importantly, find Luke, or, one of the twins, is if I'm not this big beacon of the Force,
right?
Calling out to Inquisitors and just kind of broadcasting like, "Hello there, I'm here on Tatooine." Yeah, and by the way, I'm right here. I could see it being that of like, well, I'm going to cut myself off from the Force in order to maintain secrecy.
Yeah.
And I'm tempted to go real on this, but I almost wonder if it's more he does this after the sequence of events that we see in this show, realizing how much of a danger he's putting in, and that's how you explain like the next, however many years when when ain't nobody coming to Tatooine or to Alderaan looking for the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that he has essentially then like closed himself off as a way of defending secrecy. I don't know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Jabroni, if only because I think it'll happen afterwards. It won't happen at the beginning.
All right. And our last rumor, the man they call Tim has gone all in on this one. Kenobi will use the Force to blind Leia from her Force abilities as a means of protecting her. I went the real on this one because I do think this is going to be kind of the key storyline. Something that hasn't been shown in the trailer is not something we're privy to. I think it would be interesting to weave her in, and could they tell a compelling story without it? Probably, but there just seems to be this big gap of how does she not know that she has this ability, through the original trilogy. And I think it would be really good storytelling and a nice, it is a bit of fan service, admittedly, to have this be kind of the focal point where he's having to protect her and ultimately protect her using the Force through whatever this blinding thing will be. To prevent her from being able to tap into her, her actual abilities. Could also point to what I think they were trying to, I've read some articles that have said the post-Queel trilogy, the episode 7 through 9, was really meant to, prior to Carrie Fisher's death, meant to establish Leia as actually more powerful than Luke. And so I'm wondering if they do some sort of callback to that by showing like he had to take extra kind of steps to keep her safe and hidden because of the potential that she had, and that the hope really was going to start with Luke out of a sense of keeping her kind of hidden, from those who were pursuing her. So, it's a bit of a long explanation, but I'm going to go the real on this one because it just feels that whole subplot feels very foundational to this series and the story it could tell.
I'm going to go real as well. However, I think that's going to be with both of them. Because if you notice, like Luke wasn't exactly like showing off like, hey, look, I can levitate crap,
That's
before
fair.
he met up with Kenobi.
That's fair.
So, but the funny thing is, like, then the whole retro thing of the prequels and all that about how, all the young Padawans are little kids, like they're discovering their powers. Like, well, why did it take like Luke and Leia this long to come around to that,
Yeah.
So I would think it would have to be for both of the kiddos.
I can't argue with you, my friend.
Well, good. That just makes things more interesting. So now we've got this entire thing riding on Womp Rats, Moff Tarkin, and whether or not Kenobi and young Luke will interact.
Well, and Leia's a huge part of it too. I mean, I know we.
Well,
didn't
no, I just mean in terms of our
our differences. Yes, you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
So, Man They Call Tim is rooting very strongly for no Womp Rats in Kenobi.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well,
indeed.
Thank you for gathering all those together, sir. That was most interesting. And I would say good luck, but I kind of want both bottles. So good luck to me.
I figured as much.
No, it'll be a fair and interesting contest. We shall see.
Indeed, I'm excited to see the premiere. I think it's going to be good.
Yes, indeed. This will go live before then, so we'll definitely be above boards on all of our guesses. Faux show.
Indeed.
And another thing.
So what do you got for And Another Thing this week, sir?
My And Another Thing is something I stumbled upon as it debuted Friday of the prior week. So what would that put us at 22nd, 21st? So May 20th on HBO Max, George Carlin's American Dream Parts 1 and 2, produced by Judd Apatow, and is I've only watched, actually finished at dinner tonight, part 1, and basically is a somewhat of a biographical retelling of George Carlin's life, his his entrance into stand-up comedy, the transformation he underwent for kind of the counterculture version of himself from the 70s, and really part 1 kind of ends with him being a bit of a antiquity and somewhat obsolete going into the 80s, but kind of leaves it with a bit just with a phenomenal ending where it's just kind of like, taking all of the comments and just attitude toward him toward the end of that decade and finding a way to reinvent himself in a way that makes him or catapults him, to this other level of popularity in terms of the comedy that he does. So I haven't seen part 2 yet, but if part 1's any indication, part 2 is going to be phenomenal. Just a fantastic documentary so far. So I would highly encourage you to check it out. Big fan of his comedy. Love his observations, his articulation. I love how they go into depth about, the way he kind of had his background in English and just the dissection of words he goes into and that sort of thing from his mom and from his kind of upbringing. Because he is, I mean, part of what makes his comedy so great is the way he kind of articulates these kind of weird aspects of our language and the way that we go about kind of wording things and looking at things and articulating things. And so I just found it really funny. I'm looking forward to part 2 because I really loved, I forget the name of the stand-up he did, but it was kind of early 90s in New York. I don't know if it was on Broadway or something else, but he just did this. It's I think 2 episodes ago we referenced, for example, his bit on flying the airlines and just the amazing, just routine he goes into on that. That was just one part of it. So do check it out. He's a fascinating individual and just a just amazing comic. I love during part of the documentary, Stephen Colbert refers to Carlin almost being like the Beatles, kind of in the, the 60s going into the 70s, where he's kind of like this love me do version of a comedian. And then he all of a sudden just turns into this like White Album version of this counterculture comedian that he becomes. And I thought that was a really apropos description. So do check it out. Very fascinating individual, and you will not be disappointed. George Carlin's American Dream, part 1 and 2, airing now on HBO Max.
Very nice, sir. Very good choice.
Thank you. And how about you, sir?
Well, I'm going to get on the bandwagon with you because the special
Amen.
that you're referencing is one that I myself referenced in one of our previous episodes as well, and is one of my favorite comedy albums of all time. It's George Carlin, Back in Town, and it was released in September of 1996 as one of his HBO specials. HBO, of course, was his home for all of his specials, and the
is that the one I'm referring to?
I believe so. It was one of them.
Nice.
He recorded a few in New York, and then he recorded one in New Jersey that I think it was called "What Am I Doing in New Jersey?" And but the unique thing about George Carlin was how he oriented his writing and his material, because he really, once he had to deal with HBO and he knew he would have a special coming up and he would do these specials every couple of years or whatever, he would essentially write all of his material, tour, refine, and with the idea of he's working to get this hour special set, record the special, and then all of that material just went away and he started over from scratch. And several comedians had said like how that is just, there's people who just won't do that, sort of in the same way that Jerry Seinfeld said when he was doing Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and he talked with Don Rickles, and he's like, you don't have an act, you don't have like a set, you just go up there and you just do funny.
Right.
And he's like, most comedians will not do that. Like, that's terrifying to not have, okay, I'm going to do this. This should get a good laugh. And then I'm going to do this and this and this. And then I'm out with this, almost like what Jim Carrey started to kind of do. Like, he was just like, I'm not going to do those stuff I did before. The idea of just taking all this material you've spent years refining and getting good. And especially with George, like getting huge laughs, and then just go, okay, I'm done with that. Now what? And starting right from scratch. And that material just is gone now. Like, I'm not going to perform it anymore. I'm not doing a greatest hits. I'm not going to bring it out for when I go, on the road or anything. Like, I'm writing my new special, and it's incredible. And the fact that he was able to do that year after year after year after year is amazing. And to me, when I first heard Back in Town, it blew my mind. It blew my ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
Because I had seen George Carlin growing up, because my parents had HBO, and they probably did not know how many times I listened or how many times I watched Carlin on campus and Carlin at Carnegie when they weren't around. Shows that I probably at my age should not have been watching. But I was just fascinated by this guy, and he was hilarious. And then just to kind of in the 90s to kind of rediscover him in a way, because I've always been a big fan of stand-up comedy and comedy albums, which is, it's not really even a thing now, but I had and still have a fairly decent collection of comedy albums, and it was something I would just listen to and I'd love it. Oh my gosh, this album to me is like one of his finest. It's like,
yeah,
it is the Rubber Soul, his Rubber Soul, or like his Metallica Black album, or whatever like album, like his Dark Side of the Moon album. To me, it is just from beginning to end so solid and amazing, and in a way funny, but funny in a way that makes you just like, I got to think about this. Like, okay, I just laughed at it instinctively, but
yeah.
Is it really funny? Like what he was just saying? Because, I mean, just to give you an idea, the track listing for Back in Town, one is abortion. So he leads off the entire show talking about abortion. Way to really just get everyone, rallying all together. Yeah, and that's like how he starts the show. Then he goes into a bit called Sanctity of Life, then segues from Sanctity of Life to Capital Punishment, then from there to State Prison Farms. And then here's the great thing about George, because George was equal opportunity. Like that is 4 heavy duty subjects right there. The next one, farting in public.
Go figure.
Like all of a sudden, just the pressure valve, and then he goes into familiar expressions, the taking apart and the examination of the English language, and then his last bit, which is 20 minutes long, is 26 cultural items called free floating hostility that he is just bored with, pissed at, and tired of, and so he goes through all of these things, and it's like. There's a whole bunch of things in here, like bad hair days, my needs aren't being met, Mickey Mouse's birthday, too many vehicles, backwards baseball hats. I mean, it's great. It's fantastic because It's just like, I don't know what else to do, but you know what? I'm going to tie all these together because it's really funny. And this is, it's incredible. And is one of those things where it's like, how is this guy, not still with us? Like if there was one guy whose head we should have had in a jar forever, it's definitely not Vince McMahon. It should be George Carlin, because I would love to hear what George has to say right now, even though it would probably just be a primal scream by this point. But oh my gosh, if you have not watched that special, if you've not listened to the album, definitely, if you can, watch the special, because his facial expressions and his delivery and mannerisms do add so much to it. But oh my gosh, it is a phenomenal special and phenomenal album. You
Agreed.
Gotta hear it. You gotta hear it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure we've covered all the bases. We've talked about Star Wars, Marvel, farting, George Carlin, counterculture, Womp Rats. Yep, I think we covered it all. HBO. Which, I mean, quite honestly, there probably will be a crossover show on the Plus, from the Star Wars section of the Plus to National Geographic's, talking about Womp Rats. And you know what? I'm here for that. Actually, that would be great. Oh, that would be fantastic. Like just a total. Anyways, I'm getting deep into that. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to wrap this sucker up. I'm not going to wander too much more. But thank you all for listening. We do appreciate it. If you have not yet subscribed to our humble little podcast, what the hell is wrong with you? You really ought to do that. You ought to go to freerangeidiocy.com. You'll find all of our episodes there. You can also subscribe to us directly through the Podbean app. And if you don't want to get the Podbean app, well, then you go find where you get your podcast there, bub, and you go ahead and search for us. Free Range Idiocy. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, a whole bunch of others. If you don't find us on the podcast purveyor of your choice, be sure to send an email to tim@freerangeidiocy.com and let Tim know that you want to see our podcast on Bob's Podcast Emporium, whatever.
Yeah, right.
And we'll do our best to get our podcast there for you. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or any offers of bribery, or perhaps even an idea for a show, something you'd like to hear a couple of idiots on the interwebs jabber about. I mean, hey, everybody's got a kink, and if that's your thing, hey, I'm not here to judge. So send those to tim@freerangeidiocy.com, and he will get right on that forthwith and heretofore. And concurrently as well, and then he'll probably just send back your suspect, and that's it. Because that's the only way that he communicates now, ladies and gentlemen. It's just in Goodwill Hunting quotes. That's the only way that he communicates. It's terribly painful for his family, but hilarious to me. If you'd like to follow us on the social medias, we love us some social media, so you can find us on the Facebook. We're on the Instagram. We're on the Twitter. All of those are at Free Range Idiocy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the time of the show, that blessed time for the congregation when I finally stop flapping my gums and hand this over to the man they call Tim. However, not before I ask the second most important question that has ever emerged from the mouth hole of mankind. It might have emerged from a manhole too. I don't know. It's
come from the manhole.
I'm getting delirious at this point. The first question, of course, being what is hit. The second, of course, being the hell did we learn this episode, sir?
We've learned the following, my friend.
Good. It's all about the education.
Absolutely. Uncle Todd, we have learned Uncle Todd is Parent of the Year because he allows the ballyhoo.
I do. I actively encourage the ballyhoo, much to my own chagrin.
We have also learned that hair of the bantha is a thing, so saith Uncle Todd.
I think that's the sound that bantha makes, isn't it?
I think so. Moves 10 feet per day. All right. We've also
That's
learned...
actually generous.
We've also learned that Free Range Idiocy Outbreak Edition is a thing. We made it!
Maybe. I don't know. I gotta go swab my nostril after this.
Yeah, you and me both. Oh my gosh. And finally, the man they call Tim is actively rooting against the Womp Rat appearing in Kenobi, as that will equal double bourbon for him.
Yes.
Do it. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you, as Uncle Todd has already stated, for the downloads, for the listenership. We are much appreciative. And as we like to usually close our sessions here, especially the Outbreak Edition, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. And because old Ben would want you to, please, would you hit the lights on the way out?
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Damn!
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you.
All we gotta do is keep our eyes on that brass ring, fellas.
You're the one, what?
Why, Johnny Tyler! Madcap!
Doc?
Where you going with that shotgun?
I didn't know you was back in town.
Well, well. How the hell are you?
Wyatt, I am rolling. Morgan.
Doc.
Virgil.
Who's Doc?
Wyatt Earp. Going into business for ourselves, Doc.
Well, I just got a Sparrow game.
Oh, since when is Pharaoh a business?
Didn't you always say that gambling's an honest trade?
No, I said poker's an honest trade. Only suckers buck the tiger. The odds are all on the house.
Depends on how you look at it. I mean, it's not like anybody's putting a gun to their head now, is it?
That's what I love about Wyatt. He can talk himself into anything. Oh, Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.
Just leave that shotgun. Leave it. Thank you. Sheriff Behan. Gentlemen. Sheriff. Have you met Doc Holliday?
Kiss on you, Wyatt.
Well, hello there.
I've got the high ground.
What is that, Hillbilly Ben? I got the high ground, y'all.
Hey, Ma, get off the dang roof.
That's Obi-Wan's cousin Judd. Judd Kenobi.
Cletus the slack-jawed yokel.
Cletus Kenobi. Oh my gosh, I want to see that show now.
All right, you've heard it here first. Uncle Todd's next project, Cletus Kenobi.
It'll be a busted out, one of those busted up igloos with like 5 land speeders all rusting in the front yard.
On cinder blocks.
Yep. Spotchka cans everywhere.
Good Lord.
A bantha tied up in the back. Has mange.
Hair of the bantha is like, hanging from his neck. Good Lord.
That's what a mangy bantha sounds like. It's not nearly as healthy.
Hey, Mom, on the lower ground, I won.
Now get the hell out of here!